Hey everybody, my name is Dillon Typhair. For my final project, since my paper was written on female samurai and the weapons they use, specifically the Naginata, Dr. Katras said the more creative you could be, the better. So for my project, I'm going to construct a Naginata using tools from my garage. So essentially, it's a 5-foot pole, or 5.5-foot pole, sorry, attached to a 15-inch blade. So what I've done here is I've gone ahead and drawn out our blade here on a piece of bar stock. That's the traditional shape, back swept curve, and then a slight tang to go into the haft of the handle. The other portions that I'll have to cut out of steel are these two here. So I have the Suba and the Habaki. The Suba is the handguard that'll go at the base of the blade, which is at the end of the pole, and then the Habaki, which is traditionally a bronze piece of metal that sits on the blade above the tang in front of the haft. The haft is the wooden handle portion. Instead of bronze, I'll be making that out of this pipe. If you're wondering where I got this idea, I made a sword a while back. So this isn't totally out of the realm of possibility, but it should be difficult. If it turns out, it'll be cool. If it doesn't, I'll probably hurt myself. So, yep, see you in a bit. Alright everybody, so we're outside. That's conceptually about what it'll look like. That tang portion, which is at that part of the blade, will actually be seated inside the wooden handle. The handle's about 5'5". So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the handle first. Okay, so got the pole all set up on the DeWalt chop saw. Going to go ahead and cut it. Okay, so the next portion is that the blade, the tang of the blade has to fit inside the handle. So what I'm going to do is turn this on its side here and cut a long strip out of the center of this pole so that the tang will fit inside. Thanks to my handy dandy file, I have got this to where it fits pretty good. So if you'll notice here, I have the blade clamped down to my working table here. What I'm going to do next is these right angles that connect the blade to the tang. Ignore this line here because that's going to be one piece. Instead of cutting that out with something like this and leaving those angles at a right angle, I'm going to use the drill to round out those corners. And the reason being is that round corners are less likely to cause the blade to snap off when you swing it. I drill my holes. You'll notice this left one is a little lower than the right one. The next step is to take this angle grinder and trace these lines here and cut out the blade. Then what I'll have to do is draw the Suba, which is that circular guard piece from earlier that'll fit onto the blade, and cut that out as well. One section done, only a ton more to go. Alright, so we have a big portion of our bar stock removed. We have about half the blade cut out. I'll touch this up here on the edge and then clean up these marks here. The angle grinder is more or less for making big rough cuts, so still got to cut the back out and then we'll be done, at least with this piece. Okay, so that's about what the blade looks like. I'm going to go ahead and use another tool to clean up some of those more jagged edges, and we'll go from there. Alright, so what we have here is a really big grinder that I have safely secured to my table here via a ratchet strap. And what we're going to do next is take these wheels and clean up these edges here. because it's awfully rough. So we got the edges cleaned up. It's pretty straight now. I'm going to go ahead and use this to put a slight bevel on the edge itself. Okay, so the next part we got to make is the habaki, which is that piece on the right next to my pinky. So traditionally, that piece is cast bronze, but as you'll look around and see, I don't have a bronze smelter. So what I'm going to use is this pipe, and because this pipe is galvanized metal, I have to use a respirator because galvanized metal will give you cancer. So wish me luck. Okay, so we got it cut out, got it rounded. I'll smooth that inner edge, and then we're gonna hit it on the anvil. Okay, so the blowtorch decides it just wants to light my hand on fire because the nozzle here is broken. So when I lit it, it just lit my hand on fire. So I'm just gonna hit that piece with a hammer and see how it goes. Alright, so we took that piece and I beat it on there with the hammer. So there's no way that's coming off. Doesn't rattle, doesn't shake. And then I cleaned it up with the angle grinder, so it's a little shinier than it was. So here's the basic design for my Suba. I'm going to drill holes across this line here so that that section will slide over the tang here, and then round out these corners so that it matches that. Won't be quite as round, but it'll be close. Alright everybody, so got the guard on there, got the corners of it all rounded out. Took way longer than it should to get that hammered on. I had to use that pipe and that hammer. What I did was I put the pipe over the tang and used that to beat evenly across the whole Suba so that it pressed up against the blade nice and flush. You can kind of see some light still, but it's mostly in there pretty clean. It's definitely not coming off. It doesn't rattle, it doesn't make any movement. I'm pretty happy with it so far. It's got a lot of sanding to be done for sure, but I think it came together reasonably nice as of now. Change of locations, but one of the last couple steps, we are drilling through both the wooden haft and the tang of the blade. And then what we're going to do is take these D20 nails and peen one side over once it's pushed through the hole, and we'll have another one probably right here, and that'll hold this all together. Okay, so this side looks pretty good. Both nails are flush. This side, not so good. Both my nails bent, and the top one split my yellow pine here. But luckily, we have two-part fix all your mistakes. Yay! Okay, so that is the finished product to scale. That's a wooden sheath I made. So in total, the haft is about 5 foot 4 inches with a 15.5 inch blade. The guard measures 1.5 inches from each point, and ends up being a rounded rectangle. So, according to feudal Japan, the Naginata is the ideal weapon for the female samurai. So that completes my project. Dr. Cattrus, if you would like this, I'd like to arrange a time to give it to you. I don't know if I can take it to school or not, but